from everything that I've seen, Chris is a fucking lunatic and should probably spend the rest of their life as the ward of a state. I wanted to talk about Tucker Carlson's fastidious appraisal of Hungary, a proto-fascist country that has been rapidly declining in almost every measurable sense, from its LGBTQ rights to its freedom of speech to its treatment of immigrants. But unfortunately, life had other plans, because, honest to God, ChrisChan is now been featured on America's largest news pundit show. And I haven't seen the segment, and I'm going to watch the segment. And we're just all going to try to make it through this together, okay?
A YouTube personality called ChrisChan has just been arrested in Virginia on, of all things, incest charges. Authorities say Chan was having sex with his 79-year-old mother who has dementia. ChrisChan is a biological man, but he identifies as a woman. Reportedly, Virginia authorities initially went along with that.
Wait, Chan isn't the name. Wait, does he think Chan is her last name? Vosh, I thought you didn't care. Yeah, but now this is on Tucker Carlson. So obviously I care about this. This is surreal beyond belief.
ChrisChan as a female, and that means ChrisChan, who is an accused sex criminal, would have been housed in a women's jail. We understand that decision has been reversed, likely due to public pressure. It became public, unfortunately, for the state of Virginia, and Chan is now being considered a man by the jail. But this is not an isolated incident. Many prisons in this country do house biological men with women. This is something we predicted.
Is this the angle we're going with? We're turning... This is so surreal. So now this is being turned into a... So now we're talking about the prison... Okay, all right. So this is the angle we're going with. Okay, smoothest brain angle. She should be in a woman's prison. She should be in a fucking mental facility. So the answer to this one is pretty simple. It's pretty clean and clear answer to this one, as far as I can tell. And it's that, as far as I can tell, there really doesn't seem to be like a big systemic issue of trans women hurting cis women in women's prisons, but there is a well-known issue with trans women getting hurt in men's prisons. So conservatives kind of approach this conversation with the implicit belief that it doesn't matter if trans people get hurt. Like, better like the 1 in 100 chance of a trans woman hurting a cis woman in a woman's prison than like a 1 in 2 chance of a trans woman getting hurt in a men's prison. So their logic kind of starts off with a null value for trans lives, but the math on this one's pretty clear. Trans women should be in women's prisons. Also, by the way, if you're like concerned with predatory behavior, cis male rapists go to prison with other men. Like, if you want to follow the logic of like protecting one demographic from sexual predators of that demographic, then that already happens.
Many predicted and were laughed at. Kara Dansky is one of the people who predicted this. She's the president of the U.S. chapter of the Women's Human Rights Campaign, and she joins us tonight. Kara, thanks.
What is this? Isabella, what's the name?
So much for coming on. I remember very vividly when you said on our air, if we don't put the brakes on this, we're going to get men housed in women's prisons, and you were called hysterical or silly or whatever. Now you're actually seeing it happen. What's your reaction to it?
True. I love calling women hysterical. What's this person's name? How's it spelled? Isabella Janke? Janke? I don't see much of a social media profile for this person. One of the first results is on Kiwi Farms. Is this person like just like an internet troll? Is there does this person have some kind of legitimized, this person is a sociopath, she worked for the ACLU? I just don't see like a LinkedIn or anything.
Absolutely. We know for a fact that California passed SB 132 last year. It went into effect.
Wait, this is Kara Dansky, not Isabella Janke. This person's Kara Dansky. Okay, this isn't one of the internet trolls. Kara Dansky, feminist fighting for the sex-based rights of women and girls. publicly speaking out about the gender identity industry. Okay, so this is just a standard turf. Okay. I was thinking, it seemed odd that, like, how would you get the booking for that? Like some random Kiwi Farms troll, and then they get on Tucker. But yeah, okay, here we go. Nice. Well, I hope their life's going well.
Approximately 300 applications from male prisoners to be housed in the women's prison in California. We approximate that 20 of them have been granted. There are 20 men being...
By the way, does anyone else see the irony of a person who claims to fight for the rights of women and girls coming on an outright fascist TV show? A person who represents possibly the most austere and far-right resistance to women's rights, you know? It is funny how frequently and how willingly TERFs will work alongside the far right, you know?
Being housed in women's prisons in California now, as far as we know. We suspect that none of the applications has been denied. We also know that in Washington state, approximately 9 male convicted felons are being housed in a women's prison. One of those men has been convicted of multiple murders of women, and another one of those men has been convicted of raping a 12-year-old girl. We know that in states all over this country, there are various policies or actual statutory laws on the books that allow for this, in fact, mandate it.
So do we have any, like, hard-hitting evidence that putting trans women in women's prisons leads to an increase in the total amount of violence? I mean, yeah, there are a lot of really horrible people in prison. I'm not going to deny that. But there were also, like, cis guys in prison for, like, raping kids or whatever. Like, I mean, you can dig at anecdotes all you want, but... I've heard rumors of people saying ChrisChan admitted to pretending to be trans to rape women. I don't know if this is true, but if a leaked audio demonstrates this was true, would you still put ChrisChan in a women's jail? Let me be completely clear about something. I want there to be absolutely no ambiguity to this, okay? ChrisChan and all of the information surrounding them is completely insane. And it's completely batshit insane. It's bonkers. And the more I learn about it, the less interested I am in learning anything about it, okay? From everything that I've seen, Chris is a fucking lunatic and should probably spend the rest of their life as the ward of a state. Or a ward of the state, okay? At the very least. So, I'm not backing off that. Now, this is some random internet bullshit. The only reason I'm covering this is because, for one, it is deeply surreal. And for two, if we're going to use this as some kind of fulcrum or leverage to make arguments that trans women shouldn't be jailed with cis women, I'm just going to need to see some evidence, you know? I'm just going to need to see some arguments. Because at the moment, all we have is, this is one prison somewhere where some trans women did bad things and then they went to the prison, which... I mean, yeah, they're in prison. It makes sense they did some bad stuff, you know? That kind of seems like a sort of correlative factor there.
Not in the habit of, you know, carrying the banner for prison inmates, but this is cruel and unusual. And even if you've been convicted of a crime as a woman, you have an expectation that you're not going to be raped in jail. I mean, has anyone brought...
Yeah, but wait. Cis women rape other cis women in jail, and cis men rape other cis men in jail, and cis men rape trans women in jail, and prison guards rape... This is not a specific... This argument isn't specific to this case.
This to court. It's so over the top, outrageous.
A couple things. One is, yes, these women are being held under absolutely torturous conditions, and there's some reporting coming out.
Imagine with everything fucked up about American prisons and the torturous conditions are trans women being let in. Like, American prisons are fucked, dude. And it's like, that's fine. But then, like, some trans women come in. It's like, holy shit, this is literally fucking Gitmo, you know?
That are saying these women are absolutely terrified. It has also been preliminarily reported that one woman in a California prison has been pregnant and that the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation is distributing condoms. Now, what this tells to me is not only that
What? Wait, what?
Do California prison officials understand and anticipate that these men will be raping these women? They also understand that these people being transferred to women's prisons are not women, they are men.
Wait, hold on. Prisons distribute condoms sometimes because male guards will fuck the prisoners, sometimes for favors. That's not a new thing. What? They're distributing condoms, therefore. Also, Well, I'm not, rape happens all the time in prison. I'm not making light of that. However, even if you were to leave aside, conjugal visits as well. Yeah. Even if you were to leave aside the rape angle and the prison guard angle and the conjugal visit angle, like, I like how they just assume any sex between a trans and a cis woman would be rape. Now, in prison, again, rape happens all the time. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It totally, totally does. I'm just saying, like, what about the other sex that people have in prisons? I mean, it does happen, you know? It's just, we're ignoring, like, 70 factors here and then honing in on the most insanely hyperbolic and ridiculous possible explanation.
It completely uncovers the lie that quote-unquote trans women are men, or trans women are women. And
can we get a clip on that?
Lie that quote-unquote they are men. It completely uncovers the lie that quote-unquote trans women are men.
Fucking true and based. Clip it and ship it, boys. Get it out there. Thank you, Kara Dansky, for speaking the truth. Look at Tucker. Tucker's like, yeah, that is a lie. The trans women are men. Look at him. They get paid to say what they say, but underneath it all, they know. Wait, is the thing about condoms for prison guard favors and shit true? Where? Prison guards have been fucking and raping prisoners for literal centuries. I mean, this has been a thing for as long as, like, the concept of prisons that we understand them has existed, you know? The thing is that if you're in a female prison and women start getting pregnant, like, that kind of draws a lot of attention to what's going on, you know? Like, say you have an all-women's prison, and they're all cis women, just so we can keep the factors narrowed down, and a woman gets pregnant. How did that happen? Now, technically, guards should never fuck prisoners, ever, and they shouldn't. Huge, huge, huge violation of their rights. Even if it's consensual, it ain't. So that draws a lot of attention to what's going on, state and conditions, makes things awkward. So you want, since it's going to happen anyway, them to not get the women pregnant. Does that make sense? This is all such an ugly situation. Just American prisons in general are fucking horrible, and they violate, if I recall correctly, they violate, like, UN guidelines for cruel and unusual treatment of prisoners. So we're talking about, like, bad conditions here.
Trans women are women, and California prison officials know that.
Well, sure. If everyone in the prison was female, you probably wouldn't be distributing condoms at taxpayer expense.
This is a very low IQ. Like, you can't think of any other reason. Also, I mean, we can take the point if you want. Ignore the guard thing. What if they distribute condoms because trans women and cis women want to have sex with each other in the prison, like the prisoners? And it's better to have condoms than not in that situation? I mean, again, like, we're ignoring the real reasons here. We're talking about an incredible edge case, but if that's the case, I mean, better they be protected than not? Yeah, have you not seen Orange is the New Black? It's not like the cis women aren't fucking each other. There's also female condoms for cis women. Well, yeah, I guess, but nobody really uses female condoms, right? I mean, they exist. It's just nobody really.
The reason that they are doing this is because, yes, exactly. If these prisoners being transferred were women, pregnancy would not be a concern. This should be obvious to everyone. But the problem...
I actually can't believe it. It's such an obvious explanation, and they are completely... Okay.
...is that most people in America have no idea that this is going on.
Is there anybody, and I think this is so many issues, who can stop this, who can, and again, I just want to say, I don't care if you're in prison as a woman, you don't have to face, this is torture, and you shouldn't be subjected to it. Is there anyone who can stop this?
Dude, the language. This is Hey, again, American prisons were fine before. This, however, this is torture, okay?
It absolutely could go to court. And I should also note it is in blatant violation of international norms that require the separation of prisoners by sex. It's also worth noting the vast majority of women in prison have not committed a violent offense, and women tend to be housed under lower security restrictions than men do. So what this is going to mean is that either when men get transferred to women's prisons, they will be held under conditions that are of lower security than they ordinarily would, or
damn, maybe we should stop letting these bitches get away with low security prisons then. Huh? Maybe that. Maybe we should make, maybe end the gap. Stop treating men more dangerous than women, huh? Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should end the misandry then. That's not trans women's fault.
Or officials are going to have to increase security in women's prisons.
Right. And women are held with more lax security because they're far less prone to commit sex crimes until you put men into the female population. This is truly insane. And you call—
if only there was data to support their argument. Yeah, look, I looked up some stuff about condoms being distributed in prisons, and condoms have been distributed in prisons, both men and women's, for nearly a decade now, in some places, you know, for STDs. This is in a men's prison, I'm pretty sure. Or is this just generally California prisons? It's just generally a good idea. But it's not like suddenly state governments are scrambling to deploy condoms because trans women are raping cis women in women's prison. That's not. Then Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger vetoed a 2007 bill that would have allowed nonprofit and health organizations to provide condoms to state prisoners. Okay, so it was being proposed all the way back in 2007. And then he banned it, even though it wouldn't have even cost anything because it wasn't the government doing it. Thanks, Arnold. Yeah, guys, you guys forget that Arnold Schwarzenegger was a governor in California. I grew up under that. So, like, for me, that's just normal. Like, oh yeah, he was my governor for a while, you know?
Called it really, really early, and I remember the derision you faced for saying that, and you've been proven right, unfortunately. Kara Dansky, thank you.
Thank you.
So
wow, Tucker, is that really... What were we doing there, Tucker?
Thank you.
So this probably is not going to surprise you, but a lot of the people who push the defunding police...
Oh, he's on to a next... Okay, his brain was... is ratcheting into the next segment. Well, anyway, I guess this didn't really end up being about ChrisChan, but to be honest, I don't care about ChrisChan. It's just some random fucked up person and a whole fucked up internet troll campaign and whatever. I guess I'm more interested in the sociological phenomena of how ChrisChan affects common discourse. Also, clickbait title. Yeah, buddy, you know it on YouTube. The title's gonna be like, Tucker Carlson talks about ChrisChan? What? And it's gonna be like my face. You know, I'm like pogging like real hard, you know, and yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you know how it goes.